Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast Lehr with me, your host, Imperial Dane. We are off here to have a look at the Zis3 divisional field gun here today in the Propagandacast Lehr, understanding it better, its strengths, its weaknesses, its abilities, its powers, and so on. The Zis3, a six-manned field gun, serves both as an anti-tank gun, which is what most people just tend to look at it as, but also possesses the ability to fire as artillery for a notable sum of 60 munitions. And that should not, under any circumstances, be underestimated in power. It also, for abilities, possesses tracking once it reaches Veterans 1, which allows it to see much further. Another little factor is it's actually got quite the range compared to most other anti-tank weapons. And in fact has probably about the same range as an SG-85 or PaK-40 and so on. I mean, again, 60 range, that is quite far. And here we go already. We get one ability, the barrage ability, allowing it to fire artillery. There we go. Firing away there at one of the sort of... I'll just pause it to sort of briefly explain. I mean, this is one of the ways you can basically utilize it to sort of, blow up support weapons that are certainly within your range, causing you problems, like, say, a machine gun. In this case, a machine gun stolen away by those dirty Hitlerites. Of course, I mean, you want to be sure you can actually sort of have a reasonable chance of doing some damage, at least forcing them to pull away when you're utilizing 60 missions. This is one of the ways to basically utilize this light artillery barrage. Another way of utilizing it, for example, if you got an enemy infantry force charging towards you, then you can barrage them in their path track to sort of break up the sort of and get a few kills that way. Quick note that losing even one gun member or field gun member can actually cause the barrage to cancel, which is definitely a bit awkward, but it's vital to remember. And of course also remember, just like any other support crew, the crew members do take extra damage. On the other hand, since it's a Soviet crew, of course, I mean, 6-man still makes it a lot tougher for the enemy to deal with compared to a German crew. That of course is one little extra thing to keep in mind about it. And generally, quite effective in dealing with German medium armor, since it will always penetrate on every single hit. And that, for example, means the Stuga about has 3 shots you can take from it, and then that's good night, Helmut. So already there, I mean, there are some things there, for example, for the Germans to sort of take heat off and take care of while fighting throughout the fight. And of course, right there, we are seeing this dude taking quite a bit of damage there for the field gun, although of course the field gun misses, it's all a bit for naught. Well, there we go. Veterans 1, tracking available, and there we go. We actually see it utilized, and I'll just sort of display this. And again, this is how much you can actually see. You can in fact see, I think, farther than you can actually sort of shoot overall. I mean, it gives you quite a bit, but it also gives you the ability to actually spot enemy infantry on the minmap. As might be noticed here, as this pulls out, well, just a bit beyond that, but still, I mean, it also ensures you can't actually have your field gun sort of ambushed by infantry. But again, a bit of range there. So overall, not an ability to be scoffed at overall. I mean, it's really one that allows your field guns, and for my SU-76s and SU-85s, which also have it to operate with quite a bit more to them. And again, without needing spotters or observers in front of them. Although, of course, you still want something to guard them, because your field guns will be priority targets. And there we go again. Here we see what I was talking about, breaking up an infantry. So we're seeing the enemy moving in, the infantry advancing, and I'm shooting directly into the expected movement path. In fact, right here, getting a few more enemies. In this case, of course, I'm sort of stopping, sort of deal with the the Sturmgeschütz they're advancing. But still, overall, powerful weapon if you know how to utilize. There we go, Veteran 2. And I'll just sort of briefly explain again. I mean, with the field guns, as the Veterans up, they gain a much higher rate of fire, in particular as they hit Veterans 3, which allows them to shoot much faster again, further maximum threat to enemy armor. And the field gun, again pausing, alongside the PaK-40, also have that little benefit that the active Veterans up considerably fast. A few hits on a tank, so in this case, a good few hits with a light artillery barrage, and the active Veterans up reasonably fast and quickly move towards Veterans 2 and Veterans 3. And we go, almost got those Sturmgeschütz, in fact almost Veterans 3 as well. Though of course at the same time, I mean, you also then of course have to take into consideration that your field guns will be targets for the enemy. In particular as the Veterans up, they become massive priority targets, and that's something called something you want to defend. And of course, there are different ways to do that. We'll of course see one here, I think, if I'm sensible enough. I thought I was. Nope, sadly not. There shall be another example of this though later on, to sort of display this and what it does for you. So right here, I mean, we already have some rather numerous examples of the utilities of the Zis3 divisional field gun. Its power again, I mean, it can really get off a few good shots there and actually put a lot of pressure on your opponent, not just by dealing with its armor, but even by dealing with infantry emplacements and other assorted things. I'll just be moving forward a bit ahead to sort of display, the ability there with, how you can sort of keep it a bit more alive on the field, and then I'll sort of display the power of the Veteran Zis3 field gun, because again, that's really something quite powerful. And here we are, the power of two Veteran Zis3 field guns. Noting here they're a bit depleted again, they become rather, scuffed up as the fighting progresses. Again, nice targets for the opponent. Of course, you might, use something like, say, Merch to help with that, ensuring to keep their veterans here without having to pull through. In fact, Merch in that regard is quite important, and that or getting half tracks. But again, Merch is one quick measure when there's no time for anything else, because I mean, really, with a Veteran Zis3 field gun, besides the high rate of fire, you actually get further penetration on the field guns, meaning basically German armor have less of a chance of actually shrugging off their shots. Whoops! Ah, crap, I've forgotten to slow down. I mean, you have to sort of speed things up, but right here, of course, we see lots of fire there. The Veteran Zis2 there pretty much does nothing. Tiger Ace as well, already heavily damaged from the engagement of these field guns, taking quite a bit of damage. Panda 4 there down, barely at any times of, shrugging off a single shot. This one close to getting out. Can it be saved? No, sadly not. But still, Tiger Ace actually forced to fall back. I mean, that's the power, and there we go. Actually, Merch right there. All of a sudden, this Veteran Zis3 field gun is a lot less likely to get wiped out, unlike that one. So again, merging with your field guns to that way, ensuring you can keep them going in a battlefield situation is, quite vital, and ensures you can keep them going. And there we go. Stu didn't have a chance of getting out of there. And that rather, concludes that little demonstration in the power of the Zis3. Again, a pair of them. That Tiger Ace barely had a chance. It was actually forced to rather quickly pull out of there, because after a few shots it didn't have any help, because again, those things shoot fast, and again, there's a lot less chance for German armor in actually deflecting those shots. So I mean, a little extra thing, of course, try to keep your field guns alive. Try to keep the crews alive, try to get them as high veterans as possible, and German armor will generally have very little chance of basically surviving a direct assault or even being caught in the lines of fire for any longer periods of time. I mean, a veteran field gun, from that also veteran Pack 40, is quite the powerful asset in the game, and again can do a lot to flatten enemy armor. Even veteran enemy armor will have to sort of hold a bit back versus a veteran anti-tank gun cruiser. Again, merging is a good ability to have, or have half tracks up next to it, but again, merging does present with that quicker and rapid reinforcement of the weapon. And again, in the case oh no, I might lose the crew, best merge and then again preserve the veterancy. So that is a golden tip right there for players, and again, keep it alive, because and if it's veteran again, even Tiger Aces will have to be very, very careful around it. Of course, also remember its other abilities, which again, further enhance its abilities in different ways. Again, tracking allows you to get further line of sight, get more out of its range, but also like artillery barrages, you've got an enemy force moving in, charging straight at you, fire barrage, break them up, enemy positions dug in, barrage, break them up. I mean, the field gun, like a field gun, has a lot of utility. It's not just an anti-tank gun, which some sad people will seem to think it only is. It's a field gun. It possesses both artillery and both anti-tank assets, and that rather gives it a lot of power in many directions if you know how to use it. In that regard, you can actually do a lot of damage to a German player, in particular a less experienced German player who might not quite understand how dangerous a Zis3 field gun can be. Conversely, of course, if you as a German get a Zis3, of course, I mean, you suddenly have a lot of that power at your hands. So hopefully this will have enlightened people as to the power of the Zis3 field gun, make them sort of understand it better. Of course, also explain its weaknesses. I mean, again, with assaults, with its barrages, kill a few crew members, it cancels, and again, you're still it's a crew, it's exposed, and of course a few shots in the right angles can also clear it out. I mean, the gun itself also is a weakness. I mean, it can only take so much damage before it blows up. Of course, in that regard, you have to ensure to repair it. Otherwise, again, it will blow up, and then there's nothing you can do to save the veteran crew. So, of course, that's also vital to keep in mind. Repairs. Maintenance. But beyond that, again, very powerful, and generally it's something, you know, you want to flank. I mean, in particular, as it gets veteran, you want to flank it, you want it from the side, so you want to use infantry to clear it out. I mean, that guard, you know, opponents sort of got it right, although he probably should stop blobbing about it, because, again, that to a certain extent also makes it easier for my tanks and other things to deal with that. But that's an entirely different story. But again, hopefully this has made you a lot clearer on the Zis3 field gun, understanding its strengths, but also its weaknesses, understanding how you can use it to create success, but also perhaps giving you a clear idea of perhaps how to deal with it. Again, yes, it's great, but, you know, it certainly has its weaknesses. It's not immortal, and again, it does need protection, so otherwise ensure it doesn't get cleared up, because, again, it will become a priority target. So, with that about, I hope people, again, have learned something, been inspired to do something, and, you know, hopefully also enjoyed them. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, you know, well, that's unfortunate. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers, and hope to see you another time.